Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So the F3, which is financial accounting or ACCA, we are going to study here for the part D, which is regarding transaction of the bank. So we are going to focus on tangible non-current assets. So you already learned all the theory part of this up to the depreciation, which is the depreciation. We learn two methods here, set line and reducing method. As for today, we are going to do some calculation of the straight line method and reducing balance for the depreciation charge, and we will record in the book of entry. So this is the method that you are going to learn. One is straight line method, another one is the reducing method. As for the straight line method, the question gives you the cost, receivable value, and useful life. You use this formula, which is depreciation charge equal depreciable amount divided by useful life. So the depreciable amount is the cost minus residual value. But if the question only gives you the percentage of the depreciation, you just multiply the percentage with the depreciable amount. The depreciable amount is the cost minus residual value. As for reducing method, the question will give you the percentage. So you just multiply the percentage given for the year with the carry amount, so you will get the depreciation charge for that year. Now let's discuss with illustration 1, which is using the straight line method. So the question asks you to calculate annual depreciation charge and carry amount of the machine. So the question gives you the useful life, which is 4 years. Average residual value expected to be 10,000. The cost is 80,000. So given with this information, you will use this formula. You need to find out the depreciable amount, which is the residual value, the cost minus with the residual value 10,000. And then you divide with the 4 years, which is useful life, so you will get the annual depreciation for this machine is 17,500. So since this is a straight line method, so each year the depreciation will be 17,500. So up to the 4 years, depreciation remain the same, 17,500 for each year. So this is the summary of the depreciation for 4 years. The first year, the depreciation is 17,500. So we can begin the accumulated depreciation with 17,500. As the carry amount is 62,500, by subtracting the cost of 80,000 with 17,500, so you will get the carrying amount or net book value. As for the 31st December 2014, the accumulated increased another 17,500, whereas the cost remained the same of 80,000 by applying the concept of historical cost. So the carry amount now, you minus the cost with the accumulated depreciation, the carry amount is 45,000. Whereas on 2015, another 70,500 have been charged to this year. So the accumulated now goes to 52,500. As a result, the carry amount now falls to 25,500. As 2016, which is the final year of the usage of the machine, the accumulated now reached to 70,000, another increasing by 17,500. and the claim amount is the same as the residual value, which is 10,000. As for the accounting entry, first we need to record for the purchasing of the machine by debiting the machine 80,000 and credit cash or payable 80,000. At the end of the month, the adjustment of the depreciation is by debiting depreciation expenses 17,500. This is the effect for this debit part will go to the statement of profit or loss. This will reduce the profit for that year. As for accumulated depreciation, you credit this accumulated depreciation. This effect will go to the statement of financial position. It will reduce the cost of the machine. So now we go to the ledger entry. As for the machine, it always record at historical cost all the year. The cost will remain the same, which is 80,000. But okay, as for depreciation, this year on 2013, the accumulated charge is 70,500. So at the end of accounting year, this amount should transfer to statement of profit or loss, which is 17,500. So this one, this year, all amount is closed already. No balance has been carried forward for the next year. So for the accumulated depreciation, okay, for the depreciation aspect, you debit this account 70,500 as accumulated. You will credit this by 70,500. As a result of that, this company will have the balance of 70,500 for accumulated depreciation. This will lead for statement of financial position. For this is the extract part. For the non-current asset, which is the vehicle, the carry amount now becomes 62,500 in 2013 by subtracting 80,000 here with the accumulated depreciation 70,500. So we take this amount. This is the closing balance. Yes, transfer it here. As for the second year, depreciation also remain the same because we use the straight line method. But the accumulated depreciation now you increase another 70,500 now. So the balance carried down is 35,000. And we lead to the closing amount of the accumulated depreciation is 35,000. As for the statement of financial position, we do the exact one. So the 80,000 now you minus the accumulated depreciation for that year is 35,000. So the carry amount is 45,000. So another year, you add another 17,500. So the accumulated depreciation for this year now become 50,000, 52,500. So the effect on the statement of financial position is that you can see here another 88,000 you minus the 52,500. So you will get 27,500. And lastly, the final year, another 17,500 is debited to the depreciation expense. And now for the accumulated depreciation, you credit another depreciation expenses with this amount. So the balance carried down is 70,000. So the closing balance is 70,000. So you can see finally for the fourth year, you can see that here the carried amount is 10,000, which is similar with the residual value of the machine. Okay, let's do illustration 2. Calculating for the depreciation for the year by using reducing balance method. So the question asks you to calculate annual depreciation charge and the correct amount of the car, not machine, the car. So the cost of the car is 80,000. Depreciation charge is 20% for each year. So for the depreciation charge for 31st December 2013, just multiply the cost of 80,000 with the 20% given for the depreciation. So you will get the depreciation charge for that year is 16,000. So this is the table for 5 years for the depreciation of the car. The first year is 31st December 2013. Depreciation charge is 16,000, so the accumulated started with this amount. So the carried amount now becomes 64,000. As 2014, in calculating to calculate for depreciation charge, you multiply 64,000 the carried amount that brought down. For this year, you multiply with the 20%. So you will get 12,800. So you add the accumulated depreciation last year, 16,000, with this year accumulated charge, 12,800. So the accumulated for this year is 28,800. So by subtracting the cost of 80,000 with the accumulated depreciation, the carrying amount now falls to 51,200. Again, in order to get another depreciation charge in 2015, you multiply the carrying amount of 51,200 with 20%, you will get the depreciation charge as 10,240. And accumulated, you add this depreciation charge with the last accumulated depreciation, which is 28,800. You will get the accumulated depreciation for that year. As the carried amount, you will get 40,960 by subtracting the cost with the depreciation, accumulated depreciation to that year. So again, next year you will multiply again the carried amount with the percentage. Lastly, you will get that the amount for the carried amount will not go to the zero. It will decrease. As for the depreciation charge, the amount will be decreased. This is the fastest way to calculate for the carried amount by using the mathematical operation. So as for 2060, we know that this is the year of being used for the car for the first 4 years. So you just multiply 64,000 with the percentage of the carried amount. So we have the carried amount, the depreciation charge is 20,000, meaning that the carried amount remain for the car is 80%. So this 80% is power with the 4 because it's 4 years being used. So you get straightly the carried amount of 32,768. So by doing this, you do not have to do all the table in order to get the depreciation, the carried amount. Just do the mathematical formula. As for the As for the double entry, whether you use the reducing method or straight line method, it remain the same. For the inter-depreciation charge, we will debit depreciation expenses and credit the accumulated depreciation. So now let's go to the ledger entry. As for the machine, we see that, you can see that the costs remain the same for each year, but the expenses here are decreased for each year. Each year, the depreciation will decrease by 20%. Okay, let's check from here. We can hear. Let's say for the next year, for 2014, we have 16,000 depreciation. So it decreased another 20%. So we multiply with the 80. So we'll get the depreciation is 12,800. So every year, the depreciation will fall by 20%. As the accumulated, it will decrease, it will increase each year. You can see here, the first accumulated depreciation for that year is 16,000. So the accumulated start with the 16,000. It carried downward for the 60,000 for the year 2014, and you increase with another depreciation charge 12,800. So the balance now 28,800. So we continue to the rest of the year. As of the statement of financial position, you can see here, the method is similar whether you use straight line or the reducing method. You just follow this format, just that the amount for accumulated depreciation will be different. We have here, this is not machine, this is a car. So this is a car. We have the accumulated for this year is 16,000, so the correct amount is 64,000. As for 2014, for the car, accumulated now become 51,200 because the accumulated now become 28,800. As for 2015, also the car depreciation for that year is 2015 is 10,240. So the correct amount now become 40,660, which is the cost multiplied with the accumulated depreciation for that year. So the accumulated for 2015, after adding another depreciation charge, is 36,000 and 39,040. And then in 2016, okay, for the car, cost remain 80,000. The depreciation charge is 8,192. So you add with this and the accumulated depreciation account. So you will get the balance for accumulated depreciation account is 47,232. So after you minus 80,000 with this accumulated depreciation, the correct amount for the car is now 32,760. Now, lastly, the accumulated charge for that year is $6,554. This is an off value. So this amount you will credit the accumulated depreciation. It will lead the balance carried down 53,785. So the closing balance now 53,786. So you minus this with the 80,000. So lastly, the carried amount for the car is 26,240. So this is the amount that the company will get when dispose the car, estimated amount. So this is all about the calculation of the non-current asset by using the residual method, residual balance method, and straight line method, and the double entry. Also you learn the ledger and the presentation of the non-current asset in statement of profit or loss. So remember that for the depreciation expense will affect the statement of profit or loss, it will reduce the profit, whereas the accumulated depreciation will affect statement of financial position, so they will reduce the cost of the non-current asset to the carry amount. So that's all for topic non-current asset so far. So you have another topic which is the disposal and revaluation, also the disclosure of the non-current asset. So see you with another video next time. Thank you.